Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. If anyone had been wondering the last couple of weeks if I had managed to stick with my A5 filofax, the answer is yes. And I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you today and catching up on it. This is another filofax infodump episode. I don't know how long it will be, but if you want to make a hot drink or something, or if you want to watch it in parts, go for it, of course. This is a very chill video. I really enjoy making these, especially while I'm busy working on other things like I am at the moment. And when I have stuff going on or when I'm struggling with my health, these videos are really easy to sit down and make every once in a while. So I hope you still enjoy them, even as my filofax kind of evolves a little bit. I have switched out my mug. I'm debuting a new mug. I really love this one. This is a really sentimental mug for me because I got it in my first year of university in Cambridge. I bought it from a little shop there when I was, I don't know when it would have been, like 2015. And so it's almost 10 years old, I guess. Is that right? That can't be right. Okay. That aside, I really love this mug. I've been using it for all my videos, I think since, I don't know, sometime last year. But it got a second chip. So this was the existing chip, which is very discolored now from so much tea and coffee. But I discovered yesterday that it's got a new chip, and I don't know who did it or how it happened, but it's got a new chip. I don't want it to break. I really don't want it to break. I can't replace it. And I'm kind of gutted, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm debuting a new mug, kind of not begrudgingly because it's a nice mug, but I missed that one already. This one is from TK Maxx. It's a HomeSense TK Maxx special. I'm not sure how it's going to wear with time. A lot of them tend to mark up quite easily, we find. But hopefully this one's going to be fine. And it's seasonal, so, you know, it's cute. I guess in a few days I'll probably get out my big orange bat mug again because that was really nice to have in the videos all last October. But for the time being, we have this little pumpkin number. And if you can hear Wednesday scrabbling around, she will not settle. She's actually kind of doing my head in. Like, she's just sniffing around and I can't work out what she's looking for, but it's noisy and I have to keep restarting the video because she's snuffling like a I don't know, like a little pig. It's very distracting, so please bear with me. I'm just gonna persevere. If you can hear her shaking, I'm just gonna try and persevere with it because I've literally restarted 4 times and she's just not having it. So all of that weird intro stuff aside, I did get a new little cover for my filofax, and it's just like a little sort of like minimal leather cover. I found this on Amazon in my recommended section and I like it because it's pretty compact. I had mentioned, I think in the last video, that the problem I have with most A5 ring bound covers is that they're just huge. The profile of them and the shape of them, the size of them, the materials, the pockets, it all makes it so bulky. And that's really frustrating because this fits in most of my existing handbags that I've shown on the channel, but anything bigger will not. So that's really frustrating for me, and I don't want to have to buy a new bag just to fit my planner in it. Like, that sucks. And it's really not how I want to be shopping for things ideally. This one, as I say, I found it in my recommended items. I saw it when I was buying, I think, dog food. And I had a look at it, and I think it's meant to be sort of like a dupe for Plotter because inside it's super minimal and it just has these brass rings. They're not super big, but they're also not super small. This is an okay size for me. I think they're probably maybe 25mm, I would want to hazard. They're definitely not 30, and they're also bigger than 22, so I want to have it hazard 25, but don't take my word for it. I did check the description of the product, but it's not in there. The only downside being, and this sucks because I do really like this and I am going to persevere with it regardless, but the only small downside is that the cover is like exactly A5, so my pages do hang out. My pages are also true A5. It's an A5 sheet folded in half and punched, and they hang out just a little bit. That's, you know, kind of a bummer. It's a little bit sad. If I can kind of tuck them in and then it's okay, but they do tend to lean. As is the case with most of these style covers. My concern being, of course, that in my bag or with an elastic band around it, the edges of the pages are going to get damaged, so that does kind of suck. My workaround, however, has just been to keep it, when it's in my bag, it's just to keep it in the little like cotton dust pouch it came in. The problem with this being that this is by no means meant to be something you use every day, and it is wearing out. I was traveling at the beginning of this week. I went to visit my family up north. If anyone remembers that my grandparents moved, I went to go and see them, and it is wearing out in my bag. It's getting kind of a bit worn, and I'm not sure how much longer it will last. I'm pretty sure it's gonna tear. So my thinking is that instead I will look for, I guess maybe like, you know, you get those pouches for novels and they're kind of like padded, something like that. I'll have a look, a planner pouch of some kind, and I think that might be quite nice because when I was away I did find that when it was inside here, just gonna try and slide it in, when it was inside here while I was away and it was in my bag like this, I could kind of just like slide things in here. So if I had something, like if I got a pamphlet, I could just pop it in the front of there and I knew that everything was kept together, like bundled up safely. I think that's a big perk for traveling. As someone who's always collecting a lot of ephemera, that is a big plus for me. I was quite excited to be able to do that, and it did feel very practical. And then when I got home, I knew I didn't have to worry because like everything was kept together the whole time, and also everything was protected. So that was cool. I liked that. As I say, I do really like this cover. It was pretty inexpensive, nowhere near the cost of what other covers can be, especially Plotter. A few people, I think in the last video, actually recommended me Plotter, but I live in the UK and you can't buy Plotter here. They don't sell in the UK, so the only way to get Plotter covers or accessories or whatever, any kind of Plotter stuff, is to use like a shopping service from Japan, and that's really expensive, and Plotter is already quite expensive. So the cost of it just ends up being slightly enormous. I have also had some warnings that the texture of Plotter is not what you would expect, and that does kind of scare me. Apparently it's not floppy like this. It's kind of like almost quite like a hard rubbery feeling, I think someone said. So I'm not sure about that, and that's definitely not a risk I feel I would want to take without seeing it and touching it in person. But this one, this little dupe, I really like, and the fact that it was a little inexpensive makes me feel more able to put stickers and stuff on it too, which is always nice. I mean, I'll always commit to 100% using what I buy so that I can decorate it the way that I would like, but it does help if you're not feeling super precious about it. So that's my little ramble about the cover anyway. I really like it. I put this little pocket on the front and I have a picture of Ian Curtis in here, and then I have a little shiny pillbug sticker. On the inside I have one of those green Hobonichi pockets that Bronte gave me. Oh, that was a gross noise. Try and work out how to keep this all in frame. So I have this green pocket that Bronte gave me when we had a planner meetup, and I have some mini Super Sticker Club stickers in here. And then I have a clear pocket on the front to help protect the edge of my pages. I also have this little DIY charm I made, but I'm going to replace it, so don't look at it too close. It's not a very good one. I'm going to make something cooler. And then on the front here, these little green stickers Bronte also gave me. Shout out to Bronte. I really love them. They're so, I think they're great. And then underneath there, I also have some more mini Super Sticker Club stickers. And then I have my picture of Reagan from The Exorcist on some like clear, how did that get damaged? Oh, you know when you find like random, like where is that wear and tearing from? Interesting. And then I have my calendar. I think I showed you guys these bits, so there's not too much to see there. Oh, I was doing the show of my cover though. So then on the back also, before I forget, I have this giant A5 adhesive pocket. And I know this is a little bit ugly. I know it's a little bit much to look at and it's not very pretty. But I did this as a temporary thing a few weeks ago, and then I went to the cinema and I put a cinema ticket in there, and it just worked so well that I was like, I actually, now that I have this cover, I need to put this back on here. Because again, if you're out and about and you're collecting papers and tickets or like receipts and stuff that you want to keep, it's so nice to be able to just slide them in there. It's truly unparalleled. I think I have my Beetlejuice ticket in here, that kind of thing. It's just so cool to be able to have it in there and to slot it in and be able to get it back out like really easily and to keep it safe and stuff. So I like that. I know it looks a bit gross, but big fan personally for the practicality of it. And as I always joke with my dad, I'm equal parts practicality and aesthetic. Things have to look nice and be functional. So big fan of the adhesive pockets. So then moving on to the inside properly, I have my calendar, and I guess I'll flip through these first few pages quite fast because I think you've seen them. I just have some bits while I was working things out. And then this one I think would have been the last week you saw. Maybe we got as far as here-ish. I have this, it's like a stamp I think, or something like that from a Sticky Club order. I have my little Hobonichi pamphlet that was really horrific and cool. And then some stuff. And then I have a scan or a photocopy of one of my tarot cards. Just doing some readings. A page for my Halloween zine. And then another page for my Halloween zine. It's like spoilers. This I was starting to think about the bogs I was going to visit when I went up north, because I did visit some bogs. This is also a secret bog info dump, just so you know. I was doing a little bit of research about where parking and stuff was, so I have a little map down there. And this is the nice thing too about doing things digitally, is that I feel like I have a good balance between illustration work and then personal work. Keeping these pages and keeping this information and these notes and these photos and these memories is really important to me at the moment, especially because I'm dealing with some long-term health stuff. And I'm kind of experiencing like a not insignificant cognitive decline. Everything is taking me a lot longer than normal. My memory is increasingly poor. I'm starting to get very confused about things. Like I put the stamps on the wrong side of the envelopes a couple of weeks ago and I'm still traumatized because I've been doing that like 3 times a week my whole life. Like, how can I be putting stamps on the wrong side of the envelope? Like, it's just... And I was like 10 deep before I realized, so that was quite upsetting. But I'm at the sleep clinic and it's gonna be fine. But what I mean to say is that all of this stuff has become increasingly valuable for me, especially while I try and navigate the uncertainty and the confusion and stuff of everything that's going on. And so having it typed up, just to clarify, a few people wondering last week if it's typed or not, it is all typed. I thought I had said, but it is all typed now, which is maybe weird for some of you and was a bit weird for me to adjust to be honest. And I'm sorry if people are losing interest because it's more typed and printed than it is like collaged and stuff. It's definitely more of a unification between analog and digital, but it does lean mostly digital, I guess. But being able to collage things on here digitally and then, you know, write everything out in a way that I can read back and stuff is really, really helpful to me. It's definitely a lot more useful. It's a more effective tool like this than it was when I was writing it by hand. I also find that when I'm committed to upkeeping a book by hand, it takes me a lot more time, and therefore it takes time away from other things I should be doing. So this is just the best possible balance for me right now on like all parts of my life. So it's all typed, and I'm having a really good time with that. I'm not really sorry about it. I think it's a cool effect to be able to work on it digitally and then print it, and then to add that tactility back in. I like that unification. So this is not my handwriting, it is a font. And then this one is also a font. None of it is based on my handwriting. You guys have seen my handwriting. I can't read it back. This is a big improvement. So and then I've got the most recent week. So I actually went to a journaling meetup that was super cute. And I've got some photos from that later on. Here I was starting to think, as I say, about the bogs I was going to visit when I went up north to visit my family. There's a lot of bogs up north. My family all live around the North York Moors, which is absolutely stunning. A really, really special and beautiful place. I honestly don't even have words for it. Like, when I'm up there, I feel like you can breathe easier. It's so pretty, and it's so green, and it's so open, and the landscape is just so, like, compelling. So I was thinking a lot about bog stuff. I actually bought this print from an Irish Etsy shop, and it just says, "I want to be a bog body." Very cool. I'd also seen this patch that said I'd rather be consumed by moss, but I didn't buy that one. And then here I just have a photo of my notebook, and a couple of stickers. A little gold foiled the grasshopper. And then I was redoing some of my original bog notes because those are in my personal size and I wanted to be able to take them with me. So I revisited those slightly with just some like bare information for my family. Same here. Very nice. And then I have the photocopy of my cinema ticket. And I know I say this a lot, but I think more people should know, everyone should know, this is my agenda. is that you should photocopy all your thermal tickets so that they don't fade and you don't lose them. If you use a textured paper, the effect is quite nice. This is like a hammered paper, and it's a really nice texture and feel and sort of weight to it, and also all the colours and everything obviously transfer across fine. And so you're left with this permanent, non-fading duplicate of your tickets. And then I do keep the originals, but it is nice to know that I have that in there and it's not going anywhere. It's gonna last with my pages, so that's nice to know. And then I popped that in on top. Here I was planning my outfit for the bog. This felt really silly at the time, but I really needed hiking shoes because all I have at the moment is like Converses and some Doc Martens. Not really suitable for climbing up the moors and like scrabbling over rocks and stuff, especially when it's wet. It's just not, it's not happening. So I did get some hiking shoes. And then I also found this bog, I think it looks like a bog fleece. I found this bog fleece, and that was my kind of planned bog outfit. I felt so daft, but actually now that I have the photos of me like in the bog, I don't regret it at all. It's so like, it actually like, it hurts me. I take psychic damage in the best way possible when I see those photos. It like, I don't really take photos of myself anymore, but to have those photos of me crouched in the bog in my happy place is like, I really value those in a way that I didn't expect, so that's nice. And I'm glad I matched the scenery. I will show you those to you in a minute, but then I have these like manifestation pages. I really want to live somewhere small and green, and these are just kind of like motivational pages, I guess. The idea being that I can print them again and again and keep them in here as a reminder. When I feel demotivated, I can have them out on my desk and just think that everything I do, I'm working towards this small, quiet green life. Doesn't actually have to be like in a bog because that would be very damp, but just somewhere small and green, and I can grow my own bog garden. So that's what that's for. I don't really believe in manifestation in like the true sense, but I think that as a visual, or as someone with aphantasia, I really appreciate having these visual references to look at, so it's helpful. Here I was thinking about these notebook covers. This is some pictures from Pinterest and they kind of match the style of this cover, and so I was thinking about how this person has layered things up and I quite like that. So this is just a screenshot from a pinboard. That's that picture of Ian Curtis I have on the front. So and then on this day I went to the journaling meetup, and I also met some friends for my friend's birthday. So from the evening side of my day, I have this ice cream receipt that I photocopied. We got ice cream at like 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. on a Sunday in London, which is like truly only a thing you can do in a place like London, I guess, in a city. I couldn't believe it was still open, but it was, and there was a huge queue. So we got ice cream and it was really fun, and it was cold and raining, and it was a good vibe. We also went to like a mini golf place, a cool mini golf place, and so I have the pamphlet from that too with all the scores. And then there's like a map inside if you can see in there, so that's quite cool. And then here are the photos from that evening at the mini golf place. There was also like an old-fashioned style arcade, but it was all neon, so I have a couple of photos from that. And then these are my 2 photos from the journaling meetup, which was so cool and honestly so exciting. I'm not gonna name drop everyone here now because it's a lot of names, but I was so happy to meet everyone. If any of you are watching, I can't wait to do it again. I think I've mentioned this in my New York video, but I've never had friends who are into journaling like I am, and it's just so different to hang out with people who are on your wavelength about it. Like, my family and friends are very tolerant in listening to me talk about it, but like, they don't get it, they don't care. And when you talk to other notebook journal planner people, it's just different, and I'm really grateful, so that was super cool. We took a nice big photo of a very wonky star, and then all the notebooks on the table, so that was really cool. And then I have this week, so we're through to Friday. Today is Saturday, and obviously I'm empty on this side, but I am tracking my little habit bits. I need to fill out my working on hyperfixations, but obviously I was away for this stretch, so I am a little behind. But I did catch up on my actual pages, so you can see those. And this is where I'm gonna do my big bog info dump, so bear with me. I have a little bit of footage, but not enough to make a dedicated video, I don't think. It can be quite hard to get enough to make a whole video. But maybe what I'll do is, while I talk about it, I'll put some of that footage on screen so it's not wasted. But the first bog we went to was on the Tuesday. I travelled on the Monday, it took all day to get there. And then on the Tuesday we went to the bog. And the first bog we went to was called Fen Bog. It's a nature reserve in the North York Moors, like literally like in the moors. When I tell you it was beautiful, I will never recover. I will be going back here. This is one that I would love to see in all 4 seasons. It was perfect in like late summer, early autumn now, and I would like to see it in the spring when the cotton grass is out. It was so good. So when you first arrive, there are signs warning you of adders and stuff if they're in season, and then you can see sort of the bog. The bog sits in between the bottom of a valley, 2 valleys. It sits in like the Valley Maya, and it's so cool. And there's a path that goes along the top and you can see it from above, and there's like the water sort of snaking in the bog, and it's so cool to see like the texture from up top. So we actually did that last because we missed that path at first. The path we took goes straight down and then you can climb up the other side of the valley, and we did that for about 5 miles. And it was amazing because you see all the heather and all the mosses, and it's so cool. So eventually we climbed up far enough that we got to this kind of like flatter bit, and it was really strange, and I kind of like had this feeling. I was like, oh, I think this is boggy, like I think this is bog-like. And then I started looking closer at the ground and stuff and at the heather, and I realized that underneath the heather there was all sphagnum moss of different varieties underneath like all of the heather plants. And the closer I looked and the further out I looked into the more you could see these like strange green patches, and I was like, oh my god, we're standing on like a massive blanket bog. I'm trying to keep my composure. It was really cool, and like the weather was perfect too because the sky was grey and it was really gloomy and like weird. It had been raining a lot the day before, so the colours were all green and damp and like beautiful and golden, and like, but it was dry that day, so it was just like the perfect conditions because everything was all fresh and like swollen looking, I guess. But the weather itself for walking and for taking photos and stuff was dry, so it was just perfect. The one thing that really guts me is when I go out somewhere like that and the sky is really blue. I just don't enjoy it. It makes it quite bright, but it also ruins my photos in my opinion. I love the grey sky in my photos, and that's what we had, and I just felt really grateful. Shout out to the weather for giving me that one. It was really fantastic. It was just... And then when we were on that flatter top too, at one point I was walking a bit more into the moorland itself, and we ran out of path actually. And there was a warning, and the ground was getting like damper and a bit boggier, and it was getting kind of like bouncy, and I was just like, it was really cool because it's like the way you can feel the texture and the environment change. I just thought it was sick. I think I have some footage of me like pushing the ground and you can see it springing back, and it's just like, it's so cool. So I have a lot of photos. I had a hard time choosing which ones actually to include in my pages. I spread it out over 2, could have done 4, but I have enough pictures and not enough words to fill it. So what I have is the one of the sign, and then I have a couple showing the bog from that top stretch along the side, and then I have one of my shoes on the little springy sphagnum moss with some of the heather plants. And then this one, there's a steam train actually that you can catch going across, and we did manage to catch it. You can't see it here, but I do have some video footage, so I will show you the steam train. I think it's the Pickering Railway, but it goes past every sort of like 45 minutes, and if you walk up there you can see it. So that's quite nice when it's in season. I think they run less frequently in the winter, but that's cool. One day we'll have to get the train. And then I have this photo of me crouched in the moorland, which is just like, again, as I say, I'm really glad to have it. I didn't know my mum was taking these, but big up to her, I guess, because I actually like it. It's a good photo. And I'm crouched there on a little bit of bog, taking some photos in my bog fleece and my bog shoes. Here, I was just trying to capture sort of like my outfit a bit, I guess, or the fact that I was there. I've spoken before about always trying to take pictures of people's hands and feet to signify that who was present, and I like that because it's not as intrusive as taking a photo of someone's face. And I guess this was a similar approach here. I just wanted to document that I was there. So you can see the side of my fleece and my bag, my same bag, and my camera, and then you can see the moorland behind me. And that's kind of what that was for, because I didn't know I would have this one. Down here, it's a picture of some crystallized cobweb in the heather. And like all the dewdrops and the precipitation were balanced on the cobweb to make it look like crystalline. So cool. Snapped a shot of that. And then I do also have some pictures with like a caterpillar and stuff, and I I don't know, I have so many photos and I don't know how to explain them to you, but this is what I chose to print. I feel like this captures the landscape well enough. You can see kind of what was going on. Hard to choose how to narrow it down, but you do have to narrow it down somewhere. So that's my little bog info dump. The next day we went to Castle Howard with my grandmother. It's kind of like a huge stately home, privately owned. It's not one of the trusts. The entry was quite steep. I was surprised. Normally for that kind of cost you would expect it to be like an annual pass, but it wasn't. It was just one-time entry and I was quite surprised. I guess they have a lot of grounds to maintain though. The house is enormous, but then the grounds themselves are like, it's immense, it never ends. And some of it was in disrepair, so I guess. Pretty cool to see though. I took this one photo with my camera inside and it just captures these really moody colours of one of the sitting type rooms. I think it was actually a bathroom, but and then one from the gardens with these really beautiful like autumnal toned flowers. They were kind of like a rusty red and sort of like a deep purple and then like some cream thrown in, and I just thought like, wow, that's nice for my future bog garden. So took that photo too. And then also in one of the like museum style rooms they had this painting by Peter Paul Rubens, which is Salome with the head of John the Baptist. It's one of my favorites actually. There are a lot of paintings with the head of John the Baptist with different women over time. This particular one is actually one of my favorites. I'm kind of a fan. So I didn't know it was there actually until I walked through and then I saw it and I was like, what the hell? Why is my guy here? So I included a photo of that in here because I got to see it. They didn't have a postcard of it, of course, because postcards are a bit rubbish these days, but cool to see. Postcards I did buy, one of the house and the grounds, quite nice and sort of like a golden hour light there. And the nice thing again about A5 is just being able to have like hole punch anything. Like this one is way too big. This is like those American style postcards I talked about before and we kind of all talked about, where like this is a normal size postcard and this one is so big. And these don't fit in personal size filofaxes. So when I bought a couple of these in America and Canada, I was really annoyed because I was like, what do I do with them? They don't fit. So I was having to photocopy them and then fold them and punch them. But obviously now that I'm in A5, it's very rare for something to not fit. You can put almost anything in here, which is just such a big plus for me at the moment. I'm really glad to be able to keep like everything I want to keep. No compromises in A5, it's great. So that's one of the painted ceiling, which was very, very cool. So 2 postcards. And then I do also have this. Oh, and I have an extra postcard of a statue from the gardens. I don't know if I'll include that one, probably will. But I do have the like map and the pamphlet that came, so I'll probably put that in somewhere too, maybe with one of the little tabs. Just trying to find it so you can see what I'm talking about. Where is it? It's the one I used to attach my Hobonichi pamphlet. It's just a little sticky tab that you can hole punch. Oh, here. So on here you can see on the back that I've got like a sticky tab. I can't remember who first shared these online, but I did manage to pick some up. And they're absolutely fantastic because it just gives you like a little hinge to tab so you don't have to actually damage, and this peels off really effortlessly. It's actually not super sticky at all. So if you were sticking anything less adhesive than paper, it might fall off. But for paper stuff it's fantastic, and then you don't have to hole punch through something. So I think I might do that for this. I could probably punch it, but it might be nice to not. But again, this is something I would consider not keeping in other notebooks or in a smaller filofax because of the room it takes up and the bulk of it. But because I have so much room now, I'm like, I'll definitely keep it, and that's kind of nice. So this is the map of the bits you can visit, which is a very minuscule area of the wider grounds and stuff, and you only see a few rooms in the house too, but it was pretty cool. I think these days I'm a bit past visiting stately homes. I don't always enjoy it as much as I used to. I would much rather be outside, but there we go. That was still very cool to see, especially the artworks. And then on my last day, which was Thursday, we went to another bog. This one's slightly less cool, there was less to see, but it's called Askham Bog. I don't know if it would be Askham or Askham, but it's a cool place. It's a woodland, a fenland, and a bog. So there's a lot going on, and in this map down here you can kind of see how it's laid out. It's a long strip. So the pathway that you can access on foot publicly is actually only this tiny bit here. It's very small, which is kind of sad. The actual bog is all the way down here and you can't reach it by foot. It like borders a golf club and a motorway, so that sucks. We did think about trying to skim. There are like ways through. You can climb over like the kissing star gates and stuff and the stepovers. And you can kind of get into the rest of the grounds if you know how to walk a bog. So we did kind of consider it. We came out over here and we ventured through the middle wood along the edge for a bit, but we came upon a massive herd of grazing cattle with horns, and we were like, ooh, don't know about that, first of all. I don't want to piss them off. But also, it was raining really heavily this day, and everything was getting so wet and slippery so fast. Like, the puddles were enormous. It was just getting too treacherous, I guess. You don't really want to be wandering around in like knee-high mud, but also on boggy land in heavy rain. Under the surface, bogs are always shifting anyway. It's a bit of a risk to just be stumbling around on damp, spongy grass. You never know when you're just going to get sucked in, so that's not ideal. But also it's a hell of a walk because this middle wood was enormous and then the far wood was even bigger, and then you have to walk a length of both of them to get down to Gilson's Bog. And we decided it wasn't worth the risk this day, so we just did the little loop on the boardwalk, which in itself was hella slippery in the rain, but it was cool to see. Just have some pictures kind of like crouching, climbing, walking, I guess. Some little sphagnum here, some little sphagnum moss, and then climbing over this gate over the fence, and then some barbed wire and the sphagnum on the other side. So still some nice photos, but it's definitely more woodland than anything else, which is okay, but you know, that's not my area of interest, so still good. And then I've just got a blank page on the back because this would be today. This is a format I made up for articles potentially where you could have 3 columns. I haven't actually used it yet, but I just put it there as a reminder, I guess. This one will obviously be reprinted once I've done today's page, if I do today's page. So yeah. And then last but not least, we have my Home Alone Halloween zine progress. This is an update of a zine I made a few years ago. I don't know if I'll show you all of it. There's not a lot going on. I'm aiming for 13 A5 pages at the moment, just because, as I said, my health is not the best and my cognition is appalling, and everything takes me a lot longer to work through than it used to. It's one thing to catalogue your days, and it's another thing entirely to be thinking and working and creating, I guess, and I'm just having a really hard time with it all. I was talking to my dad about it last night, and I was saying it's absolutely wild to me that back in the day I would just make a 50-page zine like it was nothing. Like, I genuinely don't know who that person was. Like, I don't know how she did that, because now even just making 10 pages feels like an enormous strain, so I don't know. It is going well though. I'm enjoying it. I won't show you, it's a secret, but I'm having fun, and there are blog pages in there now, so you can be excited about that. You've seen this one, so that's fine. In here now I've got a little ruler, and then I've just got a lot of these off-brand filofax pockets. The filofax A5 pockets are actually designed to hold A5 documents, so they're much bigger than A5. They stick out the side of my binder terribly, so I got these off-brand ones on Amazon. And I'm just holding a lot of little bits in there. Some mini Super Sticker Club stickers, some papers that someone from the Janling Club gave me, some other miscellaneous stickers, and then I've got a blank one here too for ephemera. So that's everything going on. Very cool, very grateful to be feeling so at home. Honestly, I haven't strayed even once. I just come on to my iPad every day and I'm like, great, I can't wait to work on all these pages for everything, for my zine and for myself, and it's a relief after the chaos of the summer every year, to settle back into it all in the autumn and to be feeling more myself again. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm trying to think what the major questions were last week. So everything is typed, none of it is my handwriting, it's all fonts. The pages I'm using are A4 folded in half and glued and then punched, and the printer I'm using is the same one that I've had since my first year of uni. It's the Epson model number 235. It's long been discontinued because it's almost 10 years old. So it'll be 10 years old next year. She's still working, chugging away, but she does often leave massive track marks across my pages that I'm tolerating. I think this is a very DIY book, and I think it's okay for those track marks to exist. Or at least that's what I'm telling myself. It's not the end of the world, but it is a little bit annoying when I print out like a whole ream of pages and then they've all got that track mark. I'm always like, why? I have to keep opening it up and going in there with tweezers and pulling dust out of the inside of the printer. So she's old and she doesn't work very well anymore, and it can't print double-sided. It's got a lot of drawbacks, but I love her because she still functions, and the ink is inexpensive because it's so old. So I'll use it until it gives up, but that's my printer. And everything is just printed with that. I'm not using any mini printers at the moment. I'm just using my home printer because it just feels so much easier than anything else. Especially when I'm laying my pages out in Procreate like this. And everything is made in Procreate still, again, just to clarify. I add these borders in an app called Unfold, which is for Instagram stories. I add the border to my photos and then I just airdrop them to my iPad and then I pull them all together in Procreate. Everything is kind of haphazard and DIY. It's just the way that I worked out doing things a long time ago and just never changed. I've never used Canva or anything like that. I'm very like in my ways. But there we go. That's how it's all looking and how it's all working. I think that's everything I had to talk about this week, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And I will see you next time.